Hello, this video is for Ms. G's Comp 2 classes for January 26, 2026. I'm currently in the Week 3 module, and in this video I'm going to describe how to get started with your first writing process journal, and that will get us ready to turn in our Essay 1 topic proposal, which are both due on Wednesday, the 28th. Before you get started on those assignments, make sure you have looked over the Essay 1 assignment sheet, which you can find a copy of in course documents if you don't have a hard copy. And on page 2, there are clear details on what kinds of sources we're going to use for Essay 1. You're going to choose 2 texts from the New York Times Guest Essays column, and those 2 texts should be written within the last 12 months, and they must have their topics must be related. I'm going to walk everyone through next how to sign up for a free account and how to navigate to this column. For signing up for a free New York Times account is to go to the library's website. There's a shortcut here at the top in Brightspace, James C. Kirkpatrick Library, or you can type into your browser library.ucmo.edu. Once you're on the library's homepage, scroll down to the lower left-hand corner and you'll see a tab called Newspapers. On the Newspapers page, scroll down till you see the New York Times Online section. Click on the link that's in the middle of that first paragraph. To access a subscription, create an account at the New York Times website. It's really important that you click on this link first to create the new account. Once you click there, you'll find University of Central Missouri and sign up for an account, making sure you use your student email account. That is another important part. You might get an email asking to confirm or to create a password, and once you do that and you've created your account, when you come back and just go straight to the New York Times Online, you'll be logged in or may be asked to log in. So I've already created an account. I'm going to make sure I'm logged in here. Oh, yep, I'm already logged in. Okay. So once you're logged into the New York Times website, you're going to navigate to the Opinion section, Guest Essays. And if you accidentally just click on Opinion, you'll get a left-hand sidebar where you can choose Guest Essays. So at this point, you'll come to the Guest Essays section, and you can choose any 2 guest essays, like I said, as long as they are written within the last 12 months, so going back to January of 2025, and as long as their topics are similar. Back over here on the Writing Process Journal assignment, I have some guidance on choosing topics. Once you've reached the New York Times Guest Essays column, think about what is interesting to you, what sounds like something you would like to write about in terms of the topic. But remember, we're not writing about the topics, we're writing about how the people write about the topics. So if you just want to find something that's very recent, they're already set up to be organized chronologically, but you can also search for topics that interest you. So something specific, for example, women's basketball. Let's try that. I'm going to click on search, women's basketball, and then I've gotten narrowed down to 99 sources that are about women's basketball. So then I might go through, and I'm going to note in my writing process journal, I looked at women's basketball. I found a source called How Underpaid Are WNBA Players. I'm going to note that. That looks like it would be something related to women's basketball. Maybe something about big football ruining college sports. Let's click on that. I see basketball players. Looks like football. Maybe not necessarily women's basketball specific, but it is about NCAA. I'll note that one too. Big football on my writing process journal. Let's see, am I still, oh, I lost my search. Let me go back to that. Women's basketball. Okay, I'm going to keep scrolling. Sometimes they don't always get super relevant, especially if there's not very many. Coming back to the tips I've given, let's try maybe a broader topic like mental health, and then see what that turns up in terms of something maybe more specific. So if I search for mental health, I've got about 500 results. Scrolling through, teens are using chatbots as therapists. That's definitely related to mental health and the idea of therapists. So I'm going to note that one. It needs to be said again, leave Britney alone. That's related to Britney Spears. I know that she has been having trouble with her conservatorship. That's something related to mental health, conservatorship. I'm going to note that down. I see a suicide hotline for trans kids. Forced drug treatment isn't horrific, it's a release. That's about addicted people. I'm going to note that one. A link between therapy culture and childlessness. That's another interesting topic, perhaps related to mental health. Therapy culture. I'm noting that in my journal. And childlessness. So mental health's pretty broad. What if I instead did therapy? Oops. Okay. As a more narrow search. So now I'm looking at, there's that therapist source again, and that second one I found. But now I have two, I could find two out of these, right, that are a little bit more of a narrow topic. And of course, I just want to make sure the dates were written within the last 12 months. When trying to find topics while it's good to find topics that you're interested in, it's also best to maybe avoid hot button topics that you feel very strongly about, because they can be difficult to separate from an emotional response. So the example I put here is gun control. Of course, there are examples that apply to different people, different examples. So just think about, because we're not writing about this topic and we are trying to present something informational, it might be best to just avoid something that would be very difficult to be not emotional about. But something that we're interested in to an extent. For example, as a teacher, I might put something about education. Looking at some articles about homeschool. Might note that one on my topics for my journal. Homeschool kids. Keep scrolling through and noting a few others that were maybe related to education. Another topic that interests me personally is food insecurity. So just think about some topics that interest you, like I said, but not that we feel, deeply passionate about. And then note some of those topics. If you really just can't think of anything specific, I would recommend just starting with the latest articles until something catches your eye. Let's see. So here I'm just scrolling through most recent. Police is, of course, in the news a lot. Supreme Court. Maybe you're not political. You might do something about football. Let's see, what else? Classical music. So music could be a topic. It doesn't have to be something that's political, although, of course, there is going to be a lot of that right now. Back over here in the writing process journal assignment, I've finished part 1. I spent some time browsing the New York Times guest essays column, and I've noted the titles of the sources I looked at. So actually, I have gone through part 2, and I'm going to show a picture of that next. So here's the start of my writing process journal. I've noted some topics like women's basketball, NCAA, therapists for teens, conservatorships, etc. 3, my writing process journal will look something like this, where I have a bunch of topics that I've noted and their authors, and I've highlighted a few of the topics that I think I might want to write about, or the topics of the essays that I want to write about. You'll turn in the pictures of your writing process journal. It can be multiple pages before class on Wednesday. Once you've done that, and if you do need a little more time in between, that's fine. But think about, do I want to write about, the suicide hotline, or would I rather write about homeschooling? So once you've narrowed it down to the 2 to 3 topics, then decide what is that one topic that you want to analyze. Then you'll turn in the topic proposal to me. So this is a multi-step process, so make sure you're doing that before you do this. And then in this box for the Essay 1 topic proposal assignment, just let me know which two texts, which two essays, guest essays you're going to analyze. Please make sure that they fit the guidelines as being written within the last 12 months and on a related topic. List their authors, titles, and URLs here. So just go over and copy once you click on a essay that you want. That way I can access them and just make sure that they're within the guidelines. Number 3, why did you choose those texts? Just a little line there about what drew you to that particular topic or those particular authors. And then I want you to think about at least one element of argument that they have in common. So just starting to think about what we might analyze in terms of their rhetoric. And to discuss in this video is the schedule for the rest of the week. I've described the writing process journal and the Essay 1 topic proposal in this video. I am going to cancel the reading journal 5 that I originally had due Friday. We're going to talk about evaluating sources more in Unit 2. We're not going to have a new reading journal 5. I'm just going to roll on to reading journal 6, which is still due Friday. But remember, that is also an out-of-class day because I have some meetings that I'll need to attend, and I've changed those deadlines to 5 p.m. I'll remind you guys again.